Election coverage now. At least half of the 14 political parties on the Independent Electoral Commission's participatory panel want the local government elections to be postponed, but the IEC says it will go ahead with preparations for the 6th local government elections. That's on the 27th of October. For more on what happens next, we're joined now by Deputy Chief Electoral Officer for Outreach, that's Mawethu Mosery. He joins us via our video line. Mawethu, a very good morning to you. I mean, essentially, what happens next, if indeed there is going to be a postponement, there would need to be some kind of legislative amendment.
Good morning, Michelle, and your viewers. Indeed, we acknowledge the date given, and it does come quite early in the process, and it allows us to be very focused in our final preparations for this election. Obviously, the first phase of our work would now be about encouraging voter registration. And as we conclude that, we will focus on candidate nomination and then the final stretch of campaigns and special votes applications and administration of special votes and the election itself. If any reason exists or circumstances exist that makes the election to be impossible on where it is not possible to hold a free and a fair election, it would be circumstances beyond the control of the Commission nor any executive arm of the state. And in those circumstances, then you will either approach the judiciary for an interim order given the circumstances, or if there's an early decision, as some of the political parties were proposing, that the election should not take place, then they would have to create a constitutional mechanism at the national parliament that will make it possible for such a postponement to be effected.
Right. Mawethu, in terms of our vaccination rollout plan, is that something that the IEC is also monitoring in the build-up to elections? We're told phase 2 of our rollout plan is set to start on the 17th of May. I mean, if everything goes according to plan with vaccinations, that makes your job easier, doesn't it?
Not necessarily easier, because the information we received from the Minister of Health yesterday and from the DG of Health in previous engagements indicates that it's not only the vaccine that will assist the country in having a stable and a better environment around the pandemic, but it is also the social behavior of all of us as citizens that can create a better, stable environment. In terms of the presentations we received from the minister yesterday, it indicated to us that we may have reached between 16 and 20 million vaccinated persons in the country by the time we go to the election, which does give a level of comfort that the majority of the people are vaccinated, but we would still have a good other 7 to 10 million people who will be at voting stations without the vaccination. So we have to continue with measures that prevent the transmission of the virus during elections and on voting day. Obviously, the concerns are also with the political party campaigns doing their activities to get voter support that would be also possibilities of a spread of the virus. So from what we have been presented, it does give confidence of a better environment, Michelle.
So half, or at least half of those 14 political parties on the panel want these local government elections to be postponed. I wonder if you can give us a sense of which parties those include, because I imagine it will be the smaller parties that will be most affected by an election that is held in the midst of a pandemic where campaigning, as would normally be the case, is impossible. they will be the ones that will be worst affected by that kind of situation?
While it's difficult to just recall all the 7 in the spare of the moment, but it is certainly not the smaller parties only, but a number of political parties supported that notion. Some were saying postpone by a mere 6 months and allow the vaccination program to progress even over 30 million. Others were saying 12 months. Others indeed proposed postponement and merge elections in 2024. And we've explained the legal scheme around that long-term postponement. And those who supported the elections is obviously, some of them are new political parties that have not contested an election, not even a by-election in the country, but they are supporting that the election should proceed. The matters that worried most of the political parties is the unknown third wave timing in the country on the pandemic. And certainly the scientists in this space can never give you a definite date or time period, although it is possible that, and very likely that, we will have a third wave before the general elections in October, Michelle.
So the 27th of October, that's about 7 months away. What kind of preparation takes place until then? I understand as well, in terms of voter registration, we will only have 1 weekend of voter registration.
That is correct, Michelle. Owing to time available and owing to limited budget resources that are available in the fiscus, we are going ahead with the 1 registration weekend, and we will obviously go into a number of activities that will promote and encourage voters to use that 1 weekend, but also we're bringing in technology as well as digital platforms that would assist us to ensure that with the 1 weekend, we are able to reach as many South Africans as possible, and giving an opportunity in particular to first-time voters to register and vote. We are currently partnering with the Department of Basic Education to promote young voter registration as voters, and we're visiting various schools to make it possible for them to register. And post the 1 registration weekend, we will then be focusing on candidate nomination process, which we are also digitizing just to make it more accessible to all the political parties. Michelle.
So as it stands, the local government elections set to go ahead 27 October. Thanks very much for your time this morning. Mawethu Mosery is Deputy Chief Electoral Officer for Outreach at the IEC, as we continue to track that story for you.